Good evening. My name is Manzoor Memon. I'm editor of Is Honesty the Best Policy and producer of BBC TV network. I'm proud to have a young lady from Pakistan who belongs to BBC, Iram Abbasi, with me in my living room. It is a privilege for me that you came in here and reached out to me. And I want to talk to you about the American politics. I think you have been covering American politics, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton's election. So today will be our unique interview. You interview me and I interview you. Tell me, what have you, from BBC point of view, your observation about the American election? What have you seen? What do you think? What's going to happen?
Well, it's hard to predict. I mean, because as a journalist, you always try to be safe and not to predict. But the recent polls that we've seen, and I think Donald Trump is shooting himself in the foot every day. So the popular wave, or the people that I've spoken to, or the people that I've interacted with during my coverage of US presidential election in Houston, minority vote is definitely going to Democrats, and even Republicans. A lot of senators are not supporting Donald Trump anymore. So it's kind of, I think it's I don't want to say that Hillary Clinton is going to win, but the kind of wave and polls and people, what they're saying is pretty much becoming difficult for Donald Trump to gain the platform or the sort of the attention or the voters' love he was getting before. I think it's becoming more and more difficult day by day.
I think my observation is this: the Republican Party is mainly a Caucasian party. They do not encourage minorities in their party. It's more like a white party. So that is the problem with Donald Trump, is that in the past, like in George Bush election, he tried to attract a kind of a coalition government thing, that he attracted some Hispanics, he attracted some blacks, some Asians, and so he became the president. But what Donald Trump has done, which is, I think, politically a disaster for him, is that just went only for white vote. And unfortunately, the demography of the United States has changed so tremendously that the whites are not the majority. So 10, 15, 20 years ago, he could have won on the same platform. But today, when he has created wall for Hispanics, stopped immigration for Asians and all that, so everybody's,
that shows his detachment from the masses. And when the politician is detached from the masses, it's hard to be in the most powerful position, which is to be the president of the country.
And I think this is the dirtiest presidential campaign you would see. Even this next 1 month will be very, I think it will
it's already got really, nasty, and to a point where everybody's shocked, and all the reporters that I've spoken to, they're pretty surprised by the level of, the kind of accusations been made against each other, and then the leak of audio tape by Donald Trump. So yeah, it's the most historic and the most unique US presidential election.
Do you see that there's so much money is pouring in? $1 billion in the. What do you think about that? How's that money? Aren't you amazed to see that how much money there is?
Absolutely, and I think it's basically you scratch my back, I scratch yours. It's pretty much that philosophy, and then I think it's with every election in the world. But of course, being the being the superpower and so to say, richest, one of the richest. They of course, it's all about money. Power is pretty much associated with money. You can't detach money from power, and being the president is, having power over people's life, over your nation's future.
What they should do a campaign reforms, that they should restrict them foreign money or outside money. Do you think that could weaken as journalists, we should preach that they should.
Yeah, but people who can change it, they are pretty much thriving on the money they're getting. So it's very hard to make them change it. But of course, what journalists can do is initiate a debate about it, make their voice heard, and creates awareness among people so that more and more people come and talk about their
The common man should come in because the common man doesn't have a voice. That's a problem.
And they don't have a voice, but on the other hand, that's their power base. Politicians, that's their power base, and if common man comes out and says that this is what we don't want and this is what we want, eventually they're bound to listen to them. But before that, a common man needs to realize the kind of power they have. Democracy, it's the biggest democracy, it's the oldest democracy in this country, and if you don't really use if you don't really use it for your own good or for common man's good, nobody else is going to think about you.
What about young people? What do you think? You must have been meeting a lot of young people. What are they seeing in this country?
Well, because my coverage is mostly around, Muslim voters. I've spoken to young people, and they're scared. There's a lot of fear. Because, let's be honest, Republicans have always been, as you mentioned earlier, that they weren't really, that friendly towards minorities. But Donald Trump has just sort of, he just took the gloves off. The kind of mentality that the Republicans always had towards minorities, it was there, it was simmering or probably under the carpet. It just now became mainstream. But I think a lot of youth, a lot of young people that I've spoken to, they also realize the fact that while Donald Trump is being very blatant about, or while he's very open about anti-Muslim stance, this also gives opportunity to youth, to Muslims, to integrate in the society, to engage with people, and reach out to people or to their allies and make their voices heard, be part of this process so that they can be heard.
I think it's a good opportunity for Muslims. It's a good opportunity that they should unite together. I want to give you one example. When George Bush was running, when he was governor, I had a meeting with him and I asked him a question. I said, Governor, do you know how many Muslim votes are in the United States? And he was so uninformed. Then he said maybe a couple 100,000. I said, no, Governor, there are at least 3 million registered voters. And there is one way you can get those votes. So he asked me, how can I get those votes? I said, Muslims are not going to vote for a 1.5 Jewish ticket. So he said, what do you mean by 1.5 Jewish tickets? Because Lieberman was there and John Kerry was there. So John Kerry's wife is Jewish. So I told him the Muslims and Jews has kind of a rivalry. So they will not vote for them. Maybe they will vote for you. So maybe you should solicit those votes. And the thing is, right now, if the Muslims get united and vote, see, that's the biggest problem. You know what? I've been involved in so many elections in history. Like I must have done like 6 mayoral elections. We raise a lot of money for the candidates, but we do not vote. And that is the biggest problem we have. That young people particularly, they don't come.
It's a contradiction.
Yeah, it's a contradiction because we raise a lot of money. You cannot believe it. Just on the mayoral election, we must have raised about $500,000 for that. For like when Hillary Clinton was running for Senate, we raised a lot of money. When she was running against Obama, we raised a lot of money. And just for breakfast, we raised them maybe $250,000. And recently there was a fundraiser in Beaumont in which $1.2 million was raised in just one evening. So I think what we need to do is, besides the money, we should vote and participate in the political process.
I think one of the reasons why Muslims are reluctant to vote is because in their own countries they've always seen, dictatorship. They really, this could be one of the reasons. Partly because they've never seen how democracy works and they really didn't get an opportunity to be part of democratic process in their own countries, and when they come here they're probably too scared to be part of or to be on either side because they're probably...
But you young people, I think you should encourage
absolutely, and there's a spike in, there's this rise in voters registration, at least in Houston. That's what I've learned. There's this at least 16,000 new voters who are registered, and they're above 18. They're not young people.
Yeah.
So now I think this trend is changing to some extent, and even the older generation has realized that in order to protect your rights, you have to vote.
Yeah, that's recently I wrote an article in that I wrote it down for the old guard that you people need to sit back and then encourage the young people to come back. I always used to encourage when I was with the mayor. I used to bring students from the university and hire them as interns. And can you believe it? One of my interns is working in the White House. One of my interns who worked for me is the director of Habit of Humanity. So they rose from that internship and went in government jobs. So I preach old guards, to help your young generation and come forward and join the political process. I always tell, use your money, use your vote, and use your time, volunteer in the political process, and maybe you will have a big voice. Just like other communities has. Any final message for Houston? How was your trip to Houston? Tell me your good, bad experiences.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been mostly engaging with Pakistani community and South Asian community. So yeah, it was pretty fruitful, and I'm sort of excited to see who's going to win, because this time around, some of the minorities are of course feeling sort of, they feel that they're under threat. But as we said earlier, that this is also an opportunity for them to come forward and be part of the political process. So it's just nice to see that more and more people are coming forward and being part of this process, and let's see who wins.
What's your number for Hillary and Trump? I'll give you my number because I'm very good in numbers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not, so disclaimer. I think 74% chances are that Hillary is going to win, and the rest Donald Trump.
In my view, what I'm seeing is that she has 99.9%. Until something really bad happens, something can be catastrophic thing happen, the Hillary is going to win.
Yeah. I was just playing safe.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But see, I'm good in numbers because I tell you a story about Sylvester Turner, who is just the current mayor. When we were working on his campaign, everybody was saying he's going to win 58-42. And I was reporting on an election on the night also, and I was always saying 51-49, and also based on weather. And everybody is saying, what are you talking about? Because generally the elections are based on weather also, because if it's raining, mostly the minorities don't vote. So therefore, if it's raining, I told him that you might lose. But if the weather is good, you will win 51-49. And it happened that he would win exactly 49-51. So when I interviewed him on the stage, I told him, Mayor, what do you think? You want my number? He said, I appreciate numbers. You are the only one who came with the right number.
My prediction, Mayor, 51-49. You like my numbers, right?
Yes, I like your numbers, Manny.
And I'm again shaking hands with the Mayor, which I predicted about 3 weeks ago that you will be the Mayor, and congratulations.
So my number for Hillary is, she will be in early, I think this election most probably, she will be winning in an early time because I think if she wins Florida, she's winning all of it.
And the last poll that CNN did after the debate, 57% said that Hillary won the
debate. So I think she's, I will see a first woman president, and I think that will be good for women. I'm for the women. I wrote an article about women, which you should read it. I'm pro-woman, and I want the women to be respected, and they should be given equal opportunity. And my wife, which she will tell you that I've given a full liberty, and she's my more partner and a friend rather than being a wife. Because a lot of times people do not treat their woman right, and we need to treat the woman equally, and because they work with you shoulder to shoulder, and we should help them to come in. And my wife always said that if you would have not given me this opportunity today, I would have been not this kind of a person, what I am. So I think my preaching to the men is that, please respect your woman and, give them a chance, treat them well, and you will have a good life. Thank you and good night. Thank you very much for your time, and it was a pleasure. And, just good luck with your trip to Houston.
Thank you.